we're on live. But I'm going to push this button here for us. Yes. Hello out there. I'm here with one of my dear friends, like I put on the post, and such a big influence on me these last at least 4 or 5 years since we met. So I'm just super honored to be at Kim Somers Egelsie's house, which is also a place that's been a lot of growth for me too.
A lot of meetings, right? A lot of masterminding.
Yeah, because Kim does a lot of her really special, intimate, but powerful events with mainly women, but also men too, right? Here, and then we've also gotten to do family yoga here together with your daughters, which has been such a treat. But yeah, so I'm here with Kim with this kind of new format that I'm excited to do, to be out in the world sharing people that I'm inspired by. So it's so perfect really to kind of start with Kim, because you're a big reason I'm doing this kind of thing.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm excited, and you're a big inspiration to me, and I feel like I've learned so much from you with yoga and being in the now and self-love and just having more patience, especially with my kids. So I've learned a lot from you as well, so thank you.
Yeah, and that's what's really, I think, like the funnest part is that you and I get to feel like we're like learning together and always growing our practices together, right?
Yeah,
even as we might get to learn from each other and with each other, and then from a lot of people we love around us, right? Like we're so lucky that you're such a connector and you're such a reason that we're part of this big community, really, of women now.
Yeah. It starts to be like everyone ends up knowing everyone. You meet someone and you go, oh my gosh, we have 20 people in common. And it's really a smaller world than we all realize, you know?
Yeah. And so I could pause and just tell people who don't know you yet a little about you, that because you and I met first through doing some speaking together. It was some of the first official speaking I got to do, but you were already a pro by then, having been a speaker, being invited all the time to speak. So I was honored to be on the page with you at Finding Me, Impacting We.
Yeah.
Right? That our friend Justine Ariane put on. And so that's how we first met.
Yeah, I think like 7 years ago or something.
Yeah, but I had no idea that you were going to become like a close friend and someone that I would learn so much from being in Kim's masterminds, because Kim is a life coach and a speaker and intuitive and has a background in education and even entertainment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the basis, you're just such a genuine, warm, like generous, spiritual person.
Oh, thank you.
Which is, and then that's really fun. I feel like you and I have really grown our spirituality even more these last years, and then even being in your groups, right? It's been fun to see how you've brought that in more and more to everything you do with people, right?
Yeah, I think most people keep it separate, and I think like, oh, business is here, personal, spiritual, when you really could tie it all in together because it all makes up the whole of who you are, and then everything actually flows much more seamlessly when we can combine it. So a lot of times when I do masterminds, I combine business, spiritual, and personal, and we all are able to discuss and go deep into all of it. And I did have a few people complain, well, we're expecting business only. But what's important for people to realize is if you're going to be absolutely successful and fulfilled in business, you've got to have the spiritual and personal components as well. So I think it all goes hand in hand.
And I think that's what you like teach and live and share so much. And even you know that in that one of your books was that the 10 plus life, right? That you're really encouraging people to make every aspect of their lives the best they can. And you're someone who I see honestly does that. And that's part of why you have the energy to be who you are, because you honestly make it a point to make sure your family life, your relationships, your health and fitness, your travel, and I love like you have that exercise where you have us like really look at like 100% things we want to be doing that really, and that you teach us all to be so from our hearts, right? And just and unique too, and brave about following what we uniquely want to do. So, and that you do that, like you're someone who's always doing that. So that's how you teach that most, I think, that you're always in action, but. I just appreciate that you bring all of that to the table.
Thank you. Yeah, with that 0 to 100 exercise, I think it is something important for people to, a lot of people don't stop and go, what am I even doing with my time? And all of a sudden years go by and they go, oh my gosh, I never wrote that book. I didn't do that dream I wanted to do. I didn't ask that person to partner with me. And so if we just tune in about every 2 months and go, okay, list what you're doing in your life right now. List what my visions, dreams, and goals are for this year and the next few years. And then go back and go, okay, which things really feel 100%?
Yeah.
And which things are lower? And sometimes you'll realize, like, oh my gosh, I'm working in a job right now I'm feeling 50% about. Or I'm hanging out with this person that I only want to hang out with 30%. And so we're able to tune in and go, well, wait, I'm going to start to try to lessen these things and focus more on the things that are 100 until eventually I get to where everything is 100 and you're really living for your heart and soul's desires, and then you're not punishing yourself. You're doing what you really want to do, which elevates confidence, but it also inspires others because you're living by example.
Yeah. And then I think we've come to see how much then we're serving so much more and even doing the things that are probably helping most. So if we really are interested in contribution, if we can't just get into it for our own life and wanting to make the most of this life, if that's not enough motivation, right, to realize that that's probably how we're going to serve most, is if we listen to those things that are like 100%, and if we dream big enough and believe and take the steps towards those things, right? Because those may be the ways that we're really here to help the world.
Absolutely.
So, but then also we don't even have the energy to do a lot of those things if we're not caring for ourselves on all those levels, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. We've got to implement the self-care. And I know sometimes it's really hard because someone might be working, they have to make the money. And I do have a few clients right now that are in corporate jobs. They're not very happy. They're working full-time. They have kids. They may be caring for someone. So we break it down into little small pieces. Like I have one person I'm working with right now. She really only has like 5 extra hours a week, barely. But she's making time with like 3 of those hours to start working on something she wants to eventually turn into a career. And it may take 2 or 3 years. But if she wasn't doing that, she may be stuck just always doing the same thing. So you've got to just carve out that time, even if it is only a little bit each week.
Yeah. And then I think you're someone who really teaches, and I feel like I've become so aware of this, that just also finding gratitude with where we're at, right? And also looking at our mindset about things and how much we can shift our perspectives on things, right?
Yes,
in order to make them better. So it's, I really appreciate that. And I feel like one thing it would be really interesting to hear from you about, because I know like you've allowed yourself to get so much more even into your own intuitive powers, right? And intuitive work, and even allowing through some really cool projects, right? With that. I don't know, what have you noticed about, any differences in how you maybe even need to handle your self-care now that you're becoming even so much more of an intuitive and allowing that and working with people so much more that way? What has that been like for you to go through some of those changes?
Yeah, I mean, I think every 7 years we have a shift. So it's very common for people to, usually every 7 years, so like age 7, 14, 21, and so on. And I know I'm 45, a few years ago when I was going into 42, I started feeling it going, I've been intuitive for years. It's just been a thing that I have been good at, gifted with. I think everyone can be if they tune in and develop it and feel safe with it. And you can turn off. Like if you feel like, oh, what if I attract bad things? You can really be clear. Like I don't want to delve into anything dark or bad. It could all be healthy and helpful and healing. And I think that I knew that it was going to start growing bigger and broader, the intuition. And so, of course, it was a mixture of reading books, and a good friend of mine, Eden Seston, and I, we do channeling and a lot of intuitive, deep work. And so I think over the course of the years, just doing more, it's grown more, and my abilities have grown stronger. But then I notice I need more downtime away from people. Like I notice more if I'm in crowds, I'll feel energy more, and so then I'll need like a couple days where I'm more in, like, not solitude because I have kids and a husband, but just more quiet time. And so I do notice that, or just more time to walk in nature or take a bath. Or so it's true, that is important. The more empathetic you become, the more downtime and self-care time you need, and time in nature, for sure.
But I love that you're not someone who's like shutting down, because I know you love to go to concerts, right? And so it's not like you don't like people, so you're still finessing it in a way that you can still love that, right? Even if you're noticing you're more sensitive to the energies, but now you're just maybe building in the downtime to kind of fill in after that. Or whatever, right?
I mean, I think it's all about being authentic, and so I think the mistake some people make is, now I'm a speaker, now I'm a teacher, now I'm a businessman, now I'm an intuitive. I only can be this way. What the default opinion of everybody is, like what the paradigm is. instead of going, well, you know what, I still like concerts, I still watch reality shows.
Right.
You know, I drink wine, I listen to music. You know, you don't have to suddenly be like, okay, I'm intuitive, that means I have to throw my TV away now. And all these, you know, things that people decide they have to do. So it's about staying true to what makes you happy, too.
Yeah, yeah. And do you, I don't know, do you have like daily things that you find yourself doing to tune yourself that you're aware of these days? I know you're someone who you've been very disciplined with always having like fitness routines, and you're very conscious with what you eat. You've been vegan and along those lines for many years, right? Before it was, like what do you feel like are some of your current things that you know really help you? Like, you know, I like that saying, tune.
Yeah, I do feel like one of the top ones is nature. I have to go out in nature, and like even if it's just like 15 minutes walking the dog, like I try to every day, unless it's you know freezing or raining. And I say mantras throughout the day. So I'll say I'm divinely protected and guided now and always, like a short one, you know. I'll say that just throughout the day. That really helps. And I think just checking in with yourself and being kind to yourself if you're having an off day. Just, you know, okay, God's strengthening me right now. This is me building my strength. You know, it doesn't always go well, but, you know, sometimes we have to suffer to get deeper and wiser. And so sometimes we may have a bad day or something going on, you know, and we just have to shift it and try to look at the good and find the gift. So that's another one, is just checking the mindset and making sure you're not, you know, spiraling the wrong way.
Yeah, and I love that you've developed a lot of, and even created and teach a lot of exercises on how to do that are like playful use of imagination and NLP and some of the things you've been doing.
Totally.
And then, I think maybe we're getting like towards the end of our time maybe together, but I feel like one of the things that you've really done beautifully is kind of help bridge the worlds of spirituality. Like I know you've maybe had like a Christian background, even would feel like you have roots in the Christian world and teachings, right? But then you're also able to be open and even sharing things that might be called new agey and things like the oracle cards. And so I think that's been really beautiful how you've been someone that's helped those worlds come together more for a lot of people that we know, right? That might have felt some resistance to being open to learning from both worlds, right?
Yeah, I think I've just always gone, I'm big on feeling if something's right or not right, and so as long as things feel light and happy and I feel very connected, then I feel like it's fine. And usually you'll know, like, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing this or reading this, it feels weird or low to me for some reason, then you need to trust that as well. But just making sure it's not because of a belief you were imprinted with. You've got to question and go, well, is this belief a fact? You know, how is it really making me feel? Why do I believe this? It might be something that was shaped in your upbringing or culture. And so sometimes we have to question those because it's holding us back from becoming, you know, more evolved. So that's important too.
And I'm just wondering too, how much do you feel, because I know one of the things you're teaching about these days is confidence. And then I think it's beautiful how you're also bringing such spirituality. So how much do you feel like your sense of spirituality plays into your feelings of confidence these days? Or even how you're sharing that with people?
I think the happier and more tuned in you are to yourself, then the more confident you can be. And so, you know, going back to 0 to 100, going, okay, everything I'm doing, I think what's helped confidence is like, I really check in and go, are the spiritual and intuitive things I'm doing, are the people I'm hanging out with, are the projects I'm doing, do they feel 100%? And I'm just regularly checking in. And sometimes it's hard because you do have to let go of someone or something to make you, you know, be in line with what you love. But then that leads to confidence because you're going, I'm living for what I feel totally connected to. And I feel like I'm inspired by what I'm doing, and you feel all in line. But when you're doing things that you feel you should be doing, or you don't feel happy with yourself, then your confidence is going to be lower. So
and I can even
it takes
see
work.
that it's a trusting in that those desires maybe even come from God or Spirit or the universe. So that's the reason to believe them and to follow them and to make them a priority.
Definitely.
And that even your happiness is part of what Spirit would want for you, right? And so I love how you're bringing it all together in like such a perfect modern way. So
I think you could say the same thing. Like if you look back 10, 12, 15 years ago, would you ever imagine you'd even be doing this
I know,
today?
right? Yeah.
I had no idea. So it's allowing and trusting and going, okay, what is my purpose? What am I here to be doing? And following that instinct and that intuition. And sometimes you end up in magical places you never imagined, you know?
Yeah. And I just love that I think you and I have seen, and maybe we'd love to share, that it's worth it to live like that for your own life being wonderful, but also because maybe that's how you wind up serving best.
Totally.
To live like that and listen like that and take the action, right? Like, you're someone who definitely got me a lot better at taking action. And you still inspire me.
Yeah.
But it's inspired action, really, and like, from the spiritual place. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you too.
Yeah.
Can't wait to
Anything
see
else
what this year brings.
you want to say before we would sign off to whoever soaks up our conversation?
Yeah. No, I'm blessed to be interviewed by you, and it felt like we're just hanging out, and we're going to go do yoga now.
Yes.
This woman is an amazing yoga therapist and brings all these unique traits and fun things to yoga, including journaling and nature things and card readings and stuff. If you need to find me, I'm at kimlifecoach.com.
Yes.
And that's it. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much. And we'll make sure you can find Kim on Facebook, because she posts a lot there, inspiring stuff. And thank you so much for being here, you all, for our 2 new conversation. All right. Namaste.
Signing off.